Q who? The Enterprise is hurled 7,000 light-years away by Q, where they first encountered the Borg. The opening has Geordi talking with Ensign Sonia Gomez, and her spilling her hot chocolate on Picard is probably the best part of this entire episode. But I didn't dislike this one, just saying that was the best part.
Oh, no! Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Captain.
Actually, it's my fault, sir.
Indeed.
Oh, I wasn't looking. It's all over you.
Yes, Ensign, it's all over me.
What did you think about her?
I liked her a lot, and I wish she was in the show a lot more. I wish she had become a regular cast member, because she feels more like a normal person than most of the others do, and she plays off Geordi and Picard really well.
It seems like they wanted to do something with her, but they didn't follow through.
She's played by Licia Naff, who played the three-breasted Martian in Total Recall. So, just so people know.
Picard gets in a turbolift, but he ends up somehow in a shuttlecraft with Q.
Guinan senses something weird is going on, but she's not sure exactly what it is.
It's revealed that Guinan and Q are longtime adversaries, and Guinan does a great kung fu tiger pose to show that. If Guinan has the same kind of powers as Q, but that's what she has to do to use them, I would like to see her use them. Q requests to become a part of the Enterprise crew as a guide, because he was kicked out of the Continuum, and Picard wisely says no.
I like that Q calls Worf microbrain again. It's a good little point of continuity.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I was focused on, too. The continuity of insults they throw at each other.
Yeah.
Not, plot points or stories or events that happened.
Oh, the redoubtable Commander Riker. And microbrain. Growl for me. Let me know you still care.
The continuity things I noticed were where they referenced the neutral zone, encounter at Farpoint, and hiding Q.
The first time we met you, you put us on trial for the crimes of humanity.
Of which you were exonerated.
The next time we saw you, you asked me to join the Q Continuum.
A big mistake that you didn't accept my offer.
Picard is so arrogant about Starfleet and everything when he says,
But I do know that we are ready to encounter it.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. That's why we're out here.
Q even calls them out on their smugness, and then Picard's response is the most smug response possible.
What justifies that smugness?
Not smugness, not arrogance. But we're resolute, we're determined. And your help is not required.
Q is tired of listening to Picard talk, so he throws him 7,000 light-years away. And after he throws him out there, he leaves.
Data says that at max warp, they would reach the nearest starbase in a little over 2.5 years. We don't know where they were when they started, but if we imagine that they were near that starbase, that would mean that at max warp, they would travel a little over 7.5 light-years per day. Alpha Centauri, the nearest star to Earth that isn't the Sun, is a little over 4 light-years away. It doesn't seem like they travel fast enough to get around as much as they do.
They run into a cube-shaped ship, and they can't contact it or figure out any information about it. Guinan reveals that this race, called the Borg, destroyed her race and entire civilization.
The Enterprise also finds planets that have been attacked, and they look like the ones that they had found in the neutral zone at the end of Season 1.
But that implies that the Borg were already near them.
But in this episode, they act like this is the first time they've encountered human technology.
Can you determine what happened?
The outpost was not just destroyed. It's as though some great force just scooped it off the face of the planet. It is as though some great force just scooped all the machine elements off the face of the planet.
It is identical to what happened to the outposts along the neutral zone.
A Borg transports onto the Enterprise, but they don't know what to do. They decide to just watch it for a while.
I like the fact that the Borg scout doesn't directly interact with them, but I wish the scene had been shot a little better to make him look more intimidating. He just looks like a guy standing there.
I thought that was purposeful, because they said he doesn't appear to be a threat, because he's not a big snarling animal or something, so let's just watch. And their hubris gets the better of them. They eventually get the scout off the ship. Guinan freaking told them that they can't do anything, and they should get the hell out of there, but that Starfleet mentality of humans being the best wins out. And then Guinan pulls a Terminator.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity, or remorse, or fear, and it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
The Borg ship holds the Enterprise in place with a tractor beam and slices into the saucer section with a laser.
Naturally, Riker makes a food analogy.
You're carving us up like a roast.
They decide to send an away team over to the Borg ship, which is not a good idea for any reason, but they do it anyway. At no point does anybody say, hey, let's transmit what we found back to Starfleet in case we don't make it.
And Guinan even comes right out and says, don't do it. And they blatantly ignore her. She's the only one who knows anything about the Borg.
Because they personally disagree with it. So screw you, informed person. Data's statement about life signs doesn't really make any sense.
Or why the Enterprise didn't read any life signs, especially with this many of them.
Perhaps because this ship was being scanned for individual life signs. Apparently, when they are in these slots, they become a part of the whole and no longer read as separate life forms.
Yeah, I mean, how do you scan for individual life signs? There's either signs of life or there's not.
And they're not fully machines.
And they even have the babies that are in the incubators or whatever.
I think they're called incuborgers. Incuborgers. The crew makes a lot of assumptions about how the Borg function, and just happen to be right every time.
At one point, Riker says they're going to try to access the Borg main computer, as if that's just something they can do easily with a race that they've never encountered before. A lot of the design work in the Borg ship is clearly meant to look like H.R. Giger stuff, like in the first Alien movie. I don't think it was as successful.
The ship tries to escape and it doesn't work, and they can't damage the Borg cube in any way, so Picard finally admits they suck, and Q sends them back to their original position, so now the Borg are an official threat. Even though Q wasn't around for most of it, he's shown to be much more of an actual threat than before. I liked his actions a lot more in this one than I have in the past.
I agree. He was less goofy and random. He seemed to have distinct intentions this time, and he wasn't as annoying as he was before. But I still don't like him overall.
And 18 people died in the Borg attack, and Picard just assumed that Q was going to revive them, and Q was like, no, get over it.
And I do like some of his philosophy, I guess, about the universe, about how it's a dangerous place and they need to be prepared for the unknown. But he's still a huge asshole.
Q who? Overall?
This episode felt like it should have been the season 2 opener, and I know that it was kind of screwed up by the writer's strike and the Borg were supposed to be introduced at the end of season 1. But that doesn't change the way it feels when I'm watching it. It's good to get a bit of Guinan's backstory. I liked the fact that we find out that her race had a relationship with Q's race. We still don't know a whole lot, but it's enough to keep us intrigued. The Borg are interesting, although I felt like they should have been more intimidating. I really liked Ensign Gomez, even if she didn't actually do anything plot-wise. She added to the sense of life on the ship, and she was a good contrast to the other characters. I would give the episode a B+.
I give this one a B. The building of tension is good, even if it is initially presented as something abrupt for no reason. The whole thing played straightforward, and I liked the consistent tone. I enjoyed it overall, even though there were two characters who do nothing but spout out exposition just to keep things moving forward, and the crew's decisions were stupid. But at this point, I'm not surprised. I did like it, but I was kind of disappointed Ensign Gomez had the solution to defeat the Borg the whole time. All she had to do was spill her hot chocolate onto them.
I could see her spilling it on the transporter controls and somehow transporting something over to the Borg ship that causes the whole thing to explode. That would have been awesome.
I think we would have hated that if it had actually happened.
Yeah, but like the good kind of hate.
What does that mean?